Hello, welcome to the Get Real Football Experts podcast. I'm your host, Louis Debe, along with Dave Kress, and we are recapping the NFL Draft. Ended today, very interesting, first round. Many risky picks, and also surprises that some people fell out of the draft, including Manti Te'o. I'm going to bring it up as probably the biggest story of the draft.
You mean he fell out of the first round?
Fell to the second round, where he got picked by the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, it was an interesting draft. I mean, I'm just pretty excited about what the Bills did, obviously. What a draft by them. So, obviously, first round they traded back and got E.J. Manuel. That was a great pick, I mean. And then they got Robert Woods, Kiko Alonso, and Marquise Goodwin. So, I'm excited. I mean, the Eagles. How about them Eagles? Matt Barkley.
Yeah, that's a really surprise pick. I know we were on the golf course.
Yeah.
Got a call, and Matt Barkley was on the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this just shows that Chip Kelly is going to make his scheme fit around his players, and that he's not going to be like, this is my scheme that I brought from Oregon, and this is what the players are going to run. He's going to flex it around his players, and the Barkley pick really shows that you're not going to be seeing a whole lot of read option, but I think Vic's still going to start week 1, so I think you're going to see that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Barkley come in soon.
Would you rather have Barkley start week 1? Or who do you
No, I think everybody's already saying this as well. I don't think they see him starting week 1. I think Vic will be the starter come week 1. To me, I like the depth chart. I think is going to go Vic, Barkley, and Dennis Dixon. I think Foles will be moved at the end of the preseason. That's just my take on it. I think Dennis Dixon, with his ties to Chip Kelly, has an advantage, and I think they brought back Vic for a reason. And also drafting Barkley, trading up to get him. I think he's the future guy. You're talking last year, this guy could have been a top 10 pick if he would have won it. And the fact that you can tell me that you're going to get this guy in the 4th round, I think you take best player available. It just so happened to be a quarterback that they can really mold into what they want him to be.
Well, hopefully Manuel pans out.
That was really interesting. I was really intrigued. Geno Smith falling to the 2nd round to the New York Jets. Hey, that's going to be a good and young rivalry. E.J. Manuel is going to be facing Geno twice a year. Knock on wood, of course, that Mark Sanchez or Kevin Cobb doesn't start, even though Mark Sanchez, as of right now, Rex Ryan just said will be taking the first team reps in training camp.
I wanted Tavon Austin, though. I'm happy about Manuel, but I was sitting in the Bills' end zone when they picked him.
Do you think they could have gotten Tavon Austin and E.J. Manuel?
No.
I agree.
Actually, yeah.
Maybe, because I think the Eagles would have took him at 35.
They could have drafted him 8 overall. Then they could have traded up in the 2nd.
Kind of like the 49ers. Maybe they trade at that Cowboy spot at 18 where the 49ers did. Maybe they do that.
Here's what I thought the Bills should have did. This is what one of my friends brought up a couple days ago on Friday. He said, we do the Rams trade, and then we trade back to the 49ers, still get Manuel, and now we have 3 second-round picks.
That would be incredible. But look at what they did, though, with Robert Woods now. You got Robert Woods on the outside. You got Stevie on the other side. Manuel's getting some weapons. He's got to rely on Spiller. Marquise Goodwin. T.J. Graham you still have. I am a little disappointed that Keenan Allen didn't fall. Can you imagine if they got Keenan Allen, too? Keenan Allen fell to the 3rd round. I had him going in my top third in the 1st round. Yeah. That was really interesting to see. A lot of surprising players dropped. I was totally surprised that Geno fell out of his 1st round. I thought someone was going to come in and get him, and he's just sitting there the whole night, kind of like Aaron Rodgers was when he was in the draft. Really surprising that Manuel was the only quarterback taken in the 1st round.
Well, I'm glad. I like Manuel better than Smith.
I do too, yeah. I had Manuel ranked as my top quarterback as well. I wanted Philly to get him so bad, but let's go to the 1st overall pick where Eric Fisher got selected from Central Michigan to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, well, obviously Jokel was talked about mostly, but then I know day before the draft, me and you both put Eric Fisher in, and we were correct. Well, the word got out that they liked him better, and
yeah, Jokel was a consensus pick to be the 1st overall pick pretty much the whole draft prep, and then the one night earlier, all these rumors about Fisher becoming the favorite. I kind of think it's a smart move, though. I think Fisher's going to end up having the better career. I think both are going to be really good tackles. I just think Fisher's going into a better situation than Jokel, and they both got really good running backs to protect, but they both got Blaine Gabbert, really Jokel. Now I think that shows that they're going to give Gabbert one more chance not drafting Geno. And they didn't take him at 33 either with their first pick in the 2nd round.
Speaking of good running backs, Maurice Jones-Drew goes 96 in the top 100. What's that?
I was just watching that.
It really is.
I mean, he did barely play the whole year, and I guess it is the top 100 players of the 2013 season.
96.
I know, if you're basing it off of the 2013 season, then I agree.
Yeah,
but if you're doing just of the league, which I think it's kind of based off of...
He should be in at least the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
I mean, 96, a guy that was ahead of him was Terrence Williams, the left tackle. Not Terrence Williams. Teron Williams, the left tackle out of the Washington Redskins. Terrence Williams, though,
Well, yeah, but
receiver out of Baylor, got picked by the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to, like, say everyone likes, obviously, skill positions better than linemen, but...
Yeah.
So, let's get back into the draft. So let's talk about some players who fell. But first, wait, let's talk about this trade. Dolphins trade up for the 3rd overall pick. Me and probably along with everyone else were thinking, okay, 3rd tackle in a row, going top 3 picks.
I'm sitting there saying,
Jordan.
I'm just waiting to hear Lane Johnson's words. I was kind of disappointed because I thought the Eagles weren't going to be able to snatch him up.
Well,
I thought that's why Miami traded up. I mean, I think they did a smart thing trading up because they knew they wouldn't be able to get Deion Jordan there, but I had no... I mean, I would have never thought that that's who they were going to take.
Well, I mean, if Johnson went 3, I would think Deion Jordan would have went 4 to the Eagles.
Yeah, that's true.
They wouldn't have went Fluker. That's just too much of a reach.
I mean, that really just sums up what this draft was just a total surprise.
There were
in every pick.
offensive linemen gone in the first round.
Amazing. DJ Fluker going 11 to the San Diego Chargers.
Justin Pugh went 19 to the Giants. And then center.
Travis Frederick, Wisconsin, goes to the 31st to the Dallas Cowboys. I think they could have got him in the 2nd round, though. I mean, if it was me, I would have taken Matt Elam because they need a safety, and I think they could have waited to get Travis Frederick. I think it was kind of a reach. They did move back, which I think was smart to get that extra pick, to get the Escobar, the tight end, out of San Diego State. I think that's a really good pick to help out Witten because I think people are really going to a 2 tight end set now, basing off of what New England's been able to do with Hernandez and Gronk. So I think that's a good pick.
I was telling you that like the other day how apparently teams think that when one team does something, everyone else can succeed at it. Like, but Gronk and Hernandez are just on a different level than other tight ends.
Also,
but then like everyone's thinking, you could draft a young quarterback, bring in an old one, and then you'll have Russell Wilson.
Right.
So
look at Zach Ertz, too, to the Philadelphia Eagles. They're taking him with Selleck. Jermaine Gresham now is getting another tight end.
Eifert,
the Bengals got Tyler Eifert. I mean, a lot of people are starting to do that.
I'm not a big fan of Selleck myself. I mean, I think he's not that great of a receiver. He's a good blocker.
No, yeah, he's mainly a blocking tight end, and then in situations, he's a good receiver, a good 3rd down receiver. But Zach Ertz, to me, I mean, people are comparing him to Jimmy Graham. I don't know if he's going to have that good of a career.
No.
But
he might be. He's pretty good.
Chip Kelly's just bringing in weapons, and I think now with Barkley, because I think Barkley will be starting eventually this year.
All right, so who would you rather have the Eagles take, Barkley or Ryan Nassib, who fell past the Eagles when they took Barkley?
To me, I wouldn't have taken either one.
Well, yeah, but if you could have had either.
Oh, Barkley.
Definitely.
Barkley, I think for sure. But back to the Deion Jordan thing, I think this is a really smart pick though, because you lost Carlos Dansby in free agency, and now, I mean, you got to go after Tom Brady and 2 really young quarterbacks. I mean, the AFC East quarterback situation is really fun to look at now with Ryan Tannehill, Manuel, and Geno. Hopefully, I don't want Sanchez or Cobb to start because I just think it'd be so much fun to see this young rivalry.
Sanchez isn't starting; he sucks.
No.
And when you spend your 1st round pick, you're expected to start him. EJ Manuel from Buffalo.
All right, let's go to the 5th overall pick. I want to talk about the Detroit Lions taking Ezekiel Ansah. A lot of people had him. I had him in my mock draft, taking him as well. They could have went tackle, but none of them fell to him. They weren't going to reach at DJ Fluker. They take Ezekiel Ansah, the defensive end out of BYU. Their defensive line coach, Jim Washburn, formerly the Eagles, really liked the guy, and it's kind of a reach, I think. But it's a project, but I think they really needed to address this position. And I think, give it a couple years, this guy could become a really special player.
Yeah, well, obviously it is a kind of a reach because of his inexperience, but...
Yeah, only 10 starts in his career.
Yeah. I like him, though. I mean, I think... as the second best... Well, I know Mel Kiper and all those ESPN guys had him going, too, so... I think he's a good pick for them. He's got to replace Cliff Averill and Van Den Bosch, so... And
he's not going to be forced into the starting role where he's taking every snap. I mean, I don't think he's an every down defensive end right now. I think they're going to bring another guy. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in Carlos Dansby, maybe to get some pass rushing, even though he doesn't really fit the scheme that much. But hey, Matt Barkley didn't fit the Eagles scheme. That's just the really interesting. I mean, today wrapping that. I mean, that's the huge pick.
I thought so.
Agreed. I mean, And number 6, I'm not going in order, but the Cleveland Browns. This was kind of a surprise pick too.
Oh, yeah.
Barkevious Mingo, outside linebacker out of LSU. I had them taking D. Milner here.
Yeah, so did I. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people did, and I thought that I had them trading back. I had the Chargers moving up to get Lane Johnson. Really interesting pick here, and I mean, Barkevious Mingo is going to go across from Paul Kruger, and this is going to be a really interesting spot. I thought Jarvis Jones was better. I mean, I thought maybe it was really interesting to see where he goes. I had Barkevious Mingo at 15 to the Saints, so just shows what other teams really thought.
Browns have a good team now. I mean, their defense is pretty solid.
It is.
They just need a quarterback. I don't like Weeden.
I'm not a fan of Brandon Weeden either. I just think when you draft a guy in the first round that's 29 years old, you just don't have enough time to mold him into what you want him to be for your franchise when they're rebuilding.
He's at his prime right now.
Yeah.
In his second year.
To me, if I were the Browns, I would have traded back in to get Geno Smith. And I think that would have been the best situation because I think they're going to be in the middle of the pack this year in the season. So I don't think they're going to be able to get a guy like Teddy Bridgewater.
They're stuck in a tough division.
Yeah, they really are, and that's So let's go to the number 8 pick. This is your Buffalo Bills. You traded out. The St. Louis Rams got their guy in Tavon Austin, the receiver out of West Virginia. They got their guy. They lost Andy Amendola. This was a huge need. Everyone knew it coming into the draft. Really interesting. Give your thoughts on this pick.
So basically, here's what the trade was. The Rams move up, get the 8th overall pick. They get the Bills 3rd, and that's it. The Bills get the 16th overall pick. The Rams 2nd. They get the Rams 3rd, which means they would move back in the 3rd. Rams would move up, and they also got a 7th round pick, which they didn't have because of the Tavares Jackson trade from last season. So I thought it was a good trade for Buffalo, and they ended up getting Kiko Alonso. I know you had him in your top 5 inside linebackers. He's out of Oregon, so Kiko Alonso and E.J. Manuel for Tavon Austin.
I would take
plus
that.
Whoever they got in 7th round. I'm not sure. Like you said earlier, we were golfing. So
yeah, both teams had a really good draft too. I really think it helped both teams because the Rams needed a guy to go across from. They got some young guys in Chris Evans and Brandon Quick, but when you lose a guy like Amendola, you need to replace that. And I think it's a really important pick, but also for the Bills. I mean, these two teams had a really good draft. The Bills getting their franchise guy, they're getting some toys for him, a tall receiver in Robert Woods to go across from Stevie Johnson, which was a big need. They also got T, like you said. I'm a big fan of him. Ran a 4.2 at the combine. Like get some weapons for him. Also with the Rams, I really like their pick where they got at number 30 when they traded back to the Atlanta Falcons pick where they got Alec Ogletree, the linebacker out of Georgia. Really important pick they needed there. With a solid defensive line, I think Ogletree could really thrive in Jeff Fisher's system.
All right, so now I'm going to go back, and obviously the Raiders traded their pick, and they moved back to 14, was it?
No,
12.
Yes, 12 to
the Dolphins. But Sharif Floyd, he was expected to go to them. He failed. He didn't go there because of the Dolphins. Then when he came back up to the Raiders, he was still there. I'm like, okay, they're going to take him. They still get him. And then, no, they get DJ Hayden, a cornerback. And then he falls, so that brings us to this team. We just got new jerseys, by the way. Pretty nice.
They are nice.
Yeah. I like
rather than the Jaguars.
Yeah,
I don't like their or the Dolphins. I really don't like either new jerseys, but I really like the Vikings. And back to the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing
3
picks.
first-round picks. I pulled up. I just pulled up this thing on my phone, and then on this NFL app, it shows like the positions needed, and all of them they got them. So 3 first-round picks. I got Sharif Floyd.
How did Floyd drop? I mean, it was such a they had to know something. I mean, I don't know what was wrong, but I mean, I had him as the 3rd overall pick, and then like you said, it's like they're going to take him here. DJ Hayden was a surprise. I didn't think he was going to be drafted that high. I had him predicted as the 4th corner taken.
He was Mayock's first corner. He was a big fan of him.
Yeah, I mean, let's go. And then also the Vikings get Xavier Rhodes, the 4th corner taken. Desmond Trufant was taken ahead of him. Yeah. He dropped, and then they come back in to get Cordarrelle Patterson.
Honestly,
that's a solid draft pick right there.
Steals.
Because to me, Patterson was the 2nd receiver taken.
Floyd should have been gone. Rhodes should have been gone.
They should have all been gone.
And Patterson should have gone.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins was taken
before
him. And Keenan Allen. And Robert Woods. I'm saying, he was ahead of all these guys.
Hopkins it's Allen and Patterson.
I mean, I guess the Texans like what they saw in him. I mean, he is a complete receiver. He's got the size and the speed, but, I mean, wow. Cordarrelle Patterson is going to go across from Greg Jennings. Xavier Rhodes is going to replace Antoine Winfield. I mean, that's a solid 3 picks right there. And I really want to know why Floyd dropped. I really do, because I thought he was going to be I still think he's going to be a dominant player.
The first defensive tackle off the board was Sheldon Richardson from Missouri Jets. fans were booing him.
I think the Jets had a terrible draft. I really like the Geno Smith pick because I think they needed to address the quarterback and
They
get
got
Sanchez
Dean
out.
Milner, who replaced Rivas, and then Sheldon Richardson. I mean, they should have went with.
To me, they had to
they
address
should've-
offense. You need to address
Yeah, they
offense
should
with
have
how
got.
bad
They
it
should
was
have
last
got
year.
Eifert. I thought they should have got
Agreed.
Eifert.
Because I think the D Milner pick was actually really good because I didn't think I didn't have.
Oh yeah, that's good to replace Rivas.
I didn't know if they were going to want to take a corner that high, but to replace, I mean, my only concern with Milner is his durability issues. He's had 5 surgeries. He really hurt that shoulder during the season. It's an interesting pick, but the Sheldon Richardson pick was just, I just don't think it was a smart move.
They should've went with
I think
Floyd.
they liked him what they saw. He was the best pass rushing. But yeah, because you could have got Sharif Floyd and even
Star
Star Lotulelei I wouldn't have
I know.
argued with either.
Yeah, so talking about Lotulelei, he went
14,
14, yes, to the
Carolina
Carolina
Panthers.
Panthers, who I thought they were going to get Richardson. I thought the two were going to be flip-flop. I like Lotulelei better than Richardson.
Yeah, I had Lotulelei going to the Panthers. I think
But-
it's a really good fit.
But Richardson's more of a scheme fit for the Jets, and they needed a pass rusher, so.
Yeah, and also the Panthers addressed the defensive tackle position in the second round. But going back to Starr, this guy's a really good run stopper, and I think they're going to need this. They really needed to address the defensive tackle position, and I think that it's an interesting pick. I don't think it's a reach. I think they actually got a steal with him. I thought he was going to go higher than this. Well, not in my mock draft, but I wouldn't have been surprised because of how good of a player he was. You know, in the beginning of the draft, right after the season, people were having him going number 1 to the Chiefs. That's how high people were seeing him, and then people liked him at number 3 and number 4 to the Raiders and Eagles. Panthers got a really good player, but just again surprised that both of these guys go ahead of Floyd.
I was surprised too. I mean, Floyd. Well, so yeah. So talk about. I think the Vikings had the best draft. I'll pull up who they had now. So obviously those 3 first-round picks. Then they gave up a second, third, and fourth. They must have had another fourth because they got Gerald Hodges.
Yeah, the linebacker.
Yeah,
Hodges.
the linebacker Hodges. And then they got a punter, which doesn't really make sense.
I gotta tell you, I love when kickers and punters get picked high. Also, your Buffalo Bills took a kicker in the draft. Hey, don't be surprised. Don't remember when the Eagles, and I keep referring back to these teams because it was a really good draft for both. They picked a kicker in a very high round too, and
like the second,
Alex
third.
Henry.
Who was
So
that?
it's fun to see, but going back, I mean, the Vikings had a really good draft, and I think they really put themselves in position to get back to the playoffs and get in a better situation. Another team that had a really good draft to me. I really liked what the Atlanta Falcons did with that first pick in Desmond Trufant, and also getting Alfonso, I forgot his name, the corner they got in the second round too. 2 corners to go opposite Asante Samuel. One can play the slot, which I think Desmond Trufant can. I think it's a really good pick for them. And also the 49ers, they drafted Marcus Lattimore in the 4th round.
Yeah, Lattimore. A lot of people. I kind of had mixed feelings about him.
Yeah.
Well, Lacey. Let's talk about Lacey. I mean, he fell.
This is just surprising how many people. First time a running back has not been picked in the first round, and God knows when. I think it was like, I was seeing the 1960s. That's what I was hearing on NFL Network. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but I mean, wow. I mean, I'm watching Marshall Faulk on NFL Network talk about it. The Packers had him fall right into their lap, but they also got another running back out of UCLA and Jonathan Franklin in the 3rd round, which I think is a really good pick. So I don't think Lacey's the sure thing to start week 1. I think they're going to split the carries. I really like Franklin.
They're meeting with Benson again, but I'm guessing they're not going to get him.
I had him going 26 in the 1st round. I mean, I just can't. I mean, Giovanni Bernard went ahead of him, and Le'Veon Bell out of Michigan State went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, those are 2 really interesting picks that went ahead of Lacey.
So let's talk about a team who's just great and getting better. The Seattle Seahawks. They didn't have a 1st-round pick. Then they got a running back,
Yes.
Christine Michael. I mean,
Texas A&M, really good running back, really underrated.
and then in the 3rd they got Jordan Hill, a defensive lineman. Their line is
That's a good pick too.
out of Penn State. I love.
Also, they got a steal in Jesse Williams, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. They
I
traded
can't
up to get
believe he
him.
fell. I had him going in the 1st.
Same. I had him. Well, not in my recent mock drafts I did, but then with my final touches I did have him dropping out a little bit.
But to the 5th
But
round.
wow, I mean, there was some players that how does Keenan Allen drop to the 3rd round? I mean,
And talking about people.
Chargers had a really good draft too, by the way.
Well, yeah,
Manti,
like Keenan
Fluker,
Allen
and Keenan Allen.
yeah.
Those are some big
Yeah,
needs.
that was big. But then talking about people dropping out, the Giants got DeMontre Moore in the 3rd round. That was surprising.
They are just really continuing to improve their pass rush.
And then they got Nassib in the 4th. I mean,
That's an interesting pick because Eli's in his prime I know they were saying they wanted to mold a young quarterback, but he's just never going to see the field. And I think they're going to end up like what you said earlier. I think they're just going to end up trading him later on when he's developed for some draft picks. Because really, I just don't see this guy getting on the field ever because Eli just doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really
Eli's got
interesting spot, too.
He's got the longest active streak for
Yeah.
games.
All right, I want to talk about a pick here. At 21 to the Chicago Bears, taking Kyle Long, the guard/tackle out of Oregon. Had some off-the-field issues, by the way, son of Hall of Fame Howie Long, the outside linebacker, formerly the Oakland Raiders, and also brother of Chris Long, the defensive end for the St. Louis Rams. This guy's a versatile offensive lineman, but I was surprised that they went in this position. I had him going in the second round, a good spot because they got Jermaine Bushrod too, and they really need help at the line.
Before we talk about that, did you know E.J. Manuel's godfather is Bruce Smith?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I figured that out earlier. They're
What?
Manuel's dad and Bruce Smith are friends.
I did not know that.
I know. I don't know why I'm thinking.
That's interesting. I am really excited to see EJ Manuel. I mean, he was my favorite player going into this draft. I really like him. Really reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. It's just hard not to talk about him because it's just so interesting to see what Buffalo does with him. And Doug Marrone passing on Nassib, passing on Barkley. To me, when they were about to pick, I'm just thinking Nassib through my mind. I'm thinking right there they're taking Nassib, but. They go with the dark horse and take EJ Manuel. If I were you, I'd be happy too. I was dying for the Eagles to get this guy.
Manuel jersey? No.
All right, back to the Kyle Long pick. What do you think about that?
I mean, there's some argument. They could have took
Manti.
Well, Teo, but
Could have
if
went
you're
Teo.
sticking on the line, I mean, Watson was still there, who, in my opinion,
Manelic. I really like him too.
Watson, he was, in my opinion, probably the best tackle out there. But then it depends where they want to use Long, because if they need a guard, then he was the best guard out there. So.
Yeah, I mean they got Bushrod too, so that can really help. He got them from the Saints, but they need help at the line. I mean, Cutler got beat up last year. Another year where Cutler misses out, and they end up missing some crucial games, and they end up missing the playoffs again at 10-6. They really needed to make this pick, though. I think. And then they addressed they got 2 inside linebackers in the 3rd and 4th round too, so they did address it.
Yeah, the Bears. Let me just go over who they got. Kyle Long, like you said. Then John Bostic, a linebacker, and another linebacker. So
Green, I really like him.
And then some more line picks. So they didn't really have the best, the most interesting draft, but
they got the players they needed, and I think that's what. Yeah, they got the solid picks that they really needed to address.
What do you think of Trestman? I mean, obviously coming from the CFL.
I'm not really familiar with the guy, and I think it's going to be interesting to see.
He has been in the NFL.
Yeah, so I mean, he has experience. It's not like he doesn't. I think Chicago's going to compete for that NFC North crown, and they're going to compete for a wild card spot. I don't have them winning that division, but I think they're going to compete like they usually do every year. I want to go to a pick right here, a couple picks earlier. To 17 at the Pittsburgh Steelers, taking Jarvis Jones, the outside linebacker of Georgia. A lot of people putting him at this spot. I know I denied them taking Cordell Patterson, but this guy's a playmaker.
I had him there, but then I moved him out.
I had him going to the Jets.
I had him going to the Steelers. Oh, no.
The Saints.
Saints, yeah.
He dropped, and I really think that his pro day really hurt him.
Well, let's talk about the mock draft. You had 7 correct. I
tied my 5. Last year's.
Wow. You know who really hit it? Mayock. Mike Mayock.
12, I think.
12 or something like that.
I want to give a shout out to a local guy, Joe Biscaglia, the Bills analyst at WGR 550. 14 right.
And last
That's
year,
another
14.
good one. By the way, Bucky Brooks, he only had 2.
No.
No, I checked it today. Bucky Brooks has been one of my favorite guys on one of the draft analysts because I listen to Draft Tracker podcast. He missed on a lot.
Me and Louie, we're big podcast guys.
Yeah, I love my podcast, the Rich Eisen podcast, the Dave Damshek. We got our own one here. It's awesome to listen to in the off season. Yeah. But the Jarvis Jones pick, to me, they lost James Harrison. This is a huge pick, and I really think he is up for Rookie of the Year. I really think this guy's going to be an impactful